episode 62 of Waved Yellow.
You mean our show's catching up to me?
That's with difficulty. You've got a long, long way to go.
Hola everybody. Senor, senoritas. Como esta? All the others, just in case. I hope you guys all enjoyed some of the live stuff we did this afternoon. Tell me what you think of NASA's interview, because I thought it was awesome. He did a good job, eh?
And you know who this is? I've got to get the right brother right.
Yeah.
VD Linde brother, Sheldon.
VDL bros are back.
Welcome to us. To say that again.
The VDL bros are back. I believe you guys had Harry Potter on the show last week, the guy with the glasses. So it's,
Oh, is that who he was? I thought he was looking kind of intelligent and all the rest of it.
yeah, that was Harry Potter. You met him, the real Harry Potter. So yeah, it's very good to be on the show. I remember last time being here at the beginning of last year, and it was like episode 20 or something. So it's crazy that we're already on 60.
Time flies when we're having fun, eh? And I've got to say that you've been, in many ways, this is the second time we've spoken to you, I think, but you've been a star of the show because you give us so much content, so much stuff and news to talk about. So your big news, the move from you've broken family ties. You're out of the VAG group and into BMW.
Just a quick one, has he?
Well, that's the thing. I was just about to add on that because for me, it's kind of carrying on a tradition of BMW. Obviously, my dad was racing 25 years ago for them as a factory driver in South Africa. So I think it's really, really cool how I've sort of continued this tradition now. And
So you're saying you're going back to your roots?
yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, I've always dreamed of racing for BMW, and I had the opportunity now. So I would have been dumb to not take the opportunity. So I'm very happy to be with them now. And yeah, obviously. The news came out last week, which I'm super, super ecstatic about.
So let's just talk through this news. Sheldon VD Linde is going to be the youngest DTM driver in the world, in the history, and the first South African DTM driver, factory DTM driver, and you are going to drive an what? No, hold on, no, it's an M something, it's a BMW. Tell us what the real deal is. What's the details?
So basically this year we're moving to turbo engines. The car that I drove at the Young Driver Test last year was a V8 power. So obviously a lot louder and more entertaining, but I think with a new turbo power, it's going to be a lot more interesting for the fans.
So it's a 4-cylinder turbo, and they say it's got a bucket load more power.
Yeah, we've got 100 more horsepower beneath us, so I think it's, I was watching the cars around the track. It's a big, big difference. And I think it's going to make the racing a lot more exciting because we've got more tire degradation now that comes into play. And obviously, everyone's new to the car, so I think it's going to be a new challenge to everyone. It's going to bridge that gap between the experienced guys and the guys like me, the rookies that are coming in now for the first year. And I think it's, like I said, it's a really good time to be joining the grid.
Now, you one of 6 full-on factory BMW drivers. There's another 4 BMW drivers. Essentially, you should have all the same kit, but do you come in as the proper junior, ready to learn from some of the other guys, or is there another hierarchy?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm definitely the youngest in the team of the 6 of us in BMW. I've got my teammate, he's also 20, he's just turned 20 now, so he's a year older than me. We basically the young ones in the team, and we're learning from people like Bruno Spengler, Timo Glock. All these guys have driven Formula 1 cars before. So
just have you paused for a minute to think, I'm learning from Bruno Spengler, Timo Glock. These are legends.
It's crazy. I mean, a few years ago I could only dream about, I was looking up to these guys, you know, and now I'm sort of mixing it up with them. To have conversations with them in the truck between the sessions was just amazing. So yeah, it's a big, big dream come true for me, and I can't wait to get started.
Sheldon, take us back to that test. And, you know, we, on the headline that many people say is Sheldon's testing for BMW, we don't know what's going to happen. Talk us through that day and the program you went through and what you believe you delivered that got you the job.
I think it was just my approach. I was very calm about the whole situation.
Were you really calm, or were you trying hard to be calm on the outside?
Well, I think it depends how you look at it, but of course I was trying to be calm from the outside. It was a lot of pressure because obviously there was one seat available, and we knew that one of the 4 would get that seat. So I think that sort of added to the pressure of it. But in the end, I just took it like another day of testing. I'd never been in the DTM car before, and I'd never been driving at Jerez before, so it was a lot of preparation before. I did some sim work back here as well, so I always felt very prepared for it, which is a good thing. And I think in the future as well, it's my sort of mindset to be prepared for these kind of tests. Once you know you're prepared, you know that it can only go well.
You said that you did some work here. Who do you work with on the sim side back in South Africa?
Well, it's actually quite funny. My uncle actually has a sim now at his house, so we always play along and have some fun. But most of the time we really work at it, and I know he loves involving himself with helping us using what he has.
Uncle being Etienne.
Yes, that's Uncle Etienne.
Uncle Etienne, the driver coach. Uncle Etienne, who is quick in his own right.
Exactly. That's him.
May I ask something at this stage?
Go for it, Gary.
Who's the fastest in the sim? You, Calvin, or Etienne?
It's one of those questions again. It's one of those questions again, like which is the faster VDL, bro? You know. But along the years,
You're supposed to say I am.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think so, you know. But I think no, it's also cool to have him on board as kind of the experience behind us, and I think he's always been very involved. So a big thanks to him as well.
You know, earlier today we were at the Toyota Gazoo Racing South Africa press conference where they came back, and the word family and gelling and working as a unit came up so much. That theme came up so much, and just listening to some of the involvement of the Van der Linde family from Opa,
Yes.
all the way down to, I mean, Opa must be about 98 now.
21, let's say.
Henny, what an awesome guy, and the involvement and uncles, and that's got to be special to be part of that.
It is, you know, and I think it's kind of part of our recipe of success, let's say, because we've got so much wealth of experience behind us, especially me and my brother now being the third generation, that whatever they have learned across the years, they pass on to us, of course. So I think it's very, very beneficial to have, and of course very proud to be continuing that name. You know, it would have been a great shame to see it stop with them. So let's say for our kids one day, I would love to continue that generation.
Right, now you've got the drive, and you go and do the job. Talk us through that day, and how many runs did you get, and were there short runs qualifying and long runs?
Yeah, so it was actually quite a... I don't know.
And is that Jerez, eh?
Yes, that's Jerez. That's in Spain. It's quite funny because I didn't really have a lot of track time. It's very limited because it's shared between 4 drivers. So basically I was on day 2 in the morning, and I didn't get out of the car between 8 and 12. So I was constantly in the car, just kind of doing long runs, quali runs, and they didn't change any setup. They wanted to see the performance of all 4 drivers, and obviously that's the most fair way to do it, you know, just put one driver in the morning, put the other one in the afternoon, and then compare data and whatever, and see what they needed to see.
And so in your mind, you'd done some homework here, you went over there, you did the job, they said thank you very much, go home, and then you wait. How long did you have to wait for?
To be honest, it wasn't very long until they broke the news to me, but obviously I had to wait very long before it was official. That was kind of the frustrating part, you know, because I always knew that I was going to race DTM, but I was never really allowed to tell anyone. So that was the frustrating part.
So how long actually after that you finished the test did they let you know that you got the seat?
To be honest, they let me know at the test that I...
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
So you had a great flight home.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and I had a great holiday as well.
Now I understand. He's coming to me. Your dad. I said to him, "What happened in the test?" And he sent me
Like
these, like the whole page full. And I thought, okay, I can read into it, or I'm going to shut up, and I'll just shut up. So
there we go.
the kiss at your family's Christmas must have been totally awesome.
No, it was. I mean, like I said, I was able to go into holiday feeling very relieved, you know, that I had got the seat, and I think...
Well, you've got a job for next year.
Well, that's the thing, you know, and
Well, this year.
yeah, and it's a dream come true because it's with BMW and it's in DTM. So I don't think there's more I could have really wished for, to be honest.
Okay, so a couple of things I want to know is I was watching, you know, you go down the YouTube, it's like rabbit hole, and you start watching one video, and it somehow you end up with, was it Lars Baccarat, the Audi driver, and he's driving a DTM car, and he makes this movie, there's in-car camera, and there's some blue lights on this thing, and the blue lights go up and all of that. And I didn't see revs across the top. So the blue lights on the dash, what's that all about?
So basically in a DTM we have no ABS available to us. So these are what we call locking lights. It's basically just to show the driver when any of the four wheels are locking. Because obviously you're sitting very, very low in the car. The seat position is quite weird in the DTM. You're sitting so far back and so very low that you can't really see the wheels or even if there's smoke or anything. So it's really just to alert the driver when any of the four wheels are locking, and then you know that you should bleed off the brake or whatever. So it's quite interesting because the BMW has the lights going across, so it overruns the shift lights with the blue. And I know the Audi's got the locking lights on the side, which is actually a bit more detailed. So personally,
Because you've got left to right, but in general, it should always be the inside wheel locking.
exactly, you're always going to be having the inside wheel dragging as you bleed off the brake and turn into the corner. So it's always going to be, if you're turning right, it's always going to be the right light that's locking up because it's the inside wheel.
Talking about that bleeding off the speed and coming off the brake, at higher speed you've got max aero download. What is the difference in, or do you feel the difference in aero load on a DTM car versus the GT3 cars?
It's massive, Colin. I can't even explain to you the difference. Obviously I'm coming from a touring car background, so it was quite a big thing for me to adjust.
So you've gone in a very short time. Not so long ago, you were testing a Golf 16 or an 1800 at Midval. Yes. So you went from Golf to Polo to, next thing we know, Audi frickin' R8.
And then it was TCR in 2017, and then GT3 in 18, and then 19 DTM. So it's not your normal ladder, let's say. You know, normally people are coming from Formula 3 and the like of Formula cars. So I was very happy to kind of fulfill that. Let's say we've got a lot of drivers like Philip Eng and Rene Rast now who've also come from a GT background, and it's nice to kind of have that now, to show that it is possible to come from GT3 into DTM.
Right, so let's go back to the aero load, the aero grip, because I think that something that fascinates me, I stopped driving before aero became a huge ground effects
That must
became.
have been a long, long time ago.
It actually was. Eh? That's
Look at the grey hairs.
check the hair. The hair's grey. So the faster you go, that level of trust that you give the car, how much of a leap is it to actually know for sure the grip is going to be there when I go quicker?
Well, that's the thing. You've kind of got to convince your mind that it's possible, you know. In the beginning, I was just building myself up in the aero corners because you really got to turn in and trust that the aero is there. So you're in your mind, you're not ready to release the brake, but you know.
In your mind, you're going off into the barrier.
Exactly. So you got to have the trust to just lift off the brake and let the aero do the work, you know, because these cars are so highly advanced that it's available to do pretty much whatever you want with it.
And at what point do you know that you've overstepped the mark, and how quick does a car let go?
It is very quick. Especially in the high speed, because if you think about it, if you have a quick oversteer, it upsets the complete aero platform. So yeah, it all happens very quickly, and for me it's more a Formula car than a touring car, to be honest. It's got so much grip, and it's just a steering wheel as well. It's super small. It's basically like a Formula steering wheel. So for me it's more a Formula car than a touring, to be honest.
And give us
Just a quick one. Do you sit in the car similar to what you would sit in a Formula car? Or
You
is it
do.
more like you sit in the R8?
I would say not completely like a Formula car. You don't slouch back as much. So
Okay.
I would say it's between the GT3 car and the Formula 3.
All right, okay.
So you're kind of in the middle. You do sit back a lot more, and your feet are quite high as well.
But you also sit hell far back in the car.
Exactly, you're sitting basically behind the B pillar, so it feels like you're driving on the back wheel, sort of thing. So it's very cool.
and the brake the brake pedal travel. We know that human beings, if you've got to apply a force, we do it easier by pressure as opposed to distance. Is the brake pedal, is it really as short and hard as we think it is?
It is very hard. I actually had to start training my legs the last few months because I tell you, after that test I was completely physically exhausted. My legs and everything, you know, you got to put so much pressure onto the brake pedal to really get the maximum performance out of the brakes. And that was a lot to adapt to for me as well, because it's quite a Formula style braking. You kind of peak the brake in the beginning and then bleed off as you start turning. So it was all all of these things have been a big learning curve to me, but we were able to compare to reference driver Philip Eng. Obviously, he's been racing for BMW last year, so we had a lot of reference data that we were able to compare to and really progress very quickly.
Just on that, just quick, because somebody online just asked us, and Johan Nel, sorry, not Johan Nel, scroll. Michael John Elliott, he's asking a question saying, did you have more experienced guys giving you a benchmark? Is that what your team gave you the benchmark and then helped you go with those points there afterwards?
Exactly, that was what I was talking about with Philip Eng. He was our reference driver for all 4 drivers. So basically, we would drive in the morning, he would get in at lunch, set a lap time, he would get, I think, 3 sets of new tyres. They're not scared with new tyres at all. They just
those are hand-cooked tyres, eh?
Yes, those are hand-cooked tyres, full slick tyres. So basically, he gets 3 new sets of tyres, and he's just expected to go out there and set the reference, which is obviously a lot of pressure because he wouldn't want one of us to be faster than him, in a way.
Who was
drivers' egos, eh?
Did you go faster than him?
Well, yeah. If you go look at the...
Oh, we rule, brother! We rule!
If you go look at the live timing, it was very close. But I just had it on him in the last sector, so that was very, very cool.
No wonder you got to drive. I would have employed you on the spot as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I was very happy with my performance. I never really expected to adapt to everything so quickly, and I think that was what they were looking for as well, because obviously in DTM qualifying is so important because, I mean, you can't, it's very hard to pass, and with the pit stop strategies and stuff, you still struggle to make up positions.
Yeah.
So I think it's qualifying is super important, and they told me that in the meeting. They said we see you as a sort of qualifying driver, and it will be very important to qualify well this year. So
So now you in Joburg, you family timing. When are you going back to Germany, and what are you going to do then?
I've actually got quite a busy schedule coming up. I'm going back now at the end of January. I'm going to be doing some sim work with the team now. Obviously, in DTM, there's very limited testing. I think we only have 2 tests before the season starts. I have one in March, which I won't be driving at. I'll just be spectating from the side.
Why is that?
Because the cars aren't ready yet. So I think there will only be 3 cars available so far. All the 2018 chassis are getting built over into the new cars. So they're busy rebuilding all those cars, and you can imagine how much work it is. So basically, we've got 2 tests before the season starts. I won't be doing the first one. I'll just be on the sidelines learning as much as possible with the headsets on and whatever. And then in April, I'll probably have my first test in my own car, which I'll be racing in Arcanheim. But before that, like I said, it's very limited on testing. So my team that I'm going to be racing for, BMW team RBM, it's a Belgian team. So they're based in Belgium, and it's about 700 k's from where we live in Kempton. So I'm probably going to be flying over there.
That's Kempton, Germany, not Kempton like on the east side.
No. That's Kempton, Germany. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be flying over there quite often, and I'm going to be doing a lot of sim work now just to get used to. There's so many procedures. For example, the starts, what do you have to do first in order to get the best start?
Talk us through getting into the car, and just the car's dead, and you get in, and then what? Until you drive out the thing. Talk us through that procedure.
This for me was actually the most impressive part of the test. It's like Formula One. It's basically on the same level. You have 3 engineers. You have a chief engineer, a data engineer, and you have the race engineer, which is talking to the radio. So they're all standing around the car now as you go out, and you've got the mechanic doing this to kind of start up the car. You crank it for about 3 seconds, and they give you the go-ahead. They look on the data when it's ready to fire up, and you fire up the car, and the sound of the V8 is just awesome. I'm going to miss it a lot, very much.
And then the clutch, is it it's a normal foot clutch?
Yes.
And is it relatively easy not to stall this thing?
Yeah, it is. I was quite surprised. It's a lot like I would compare it to the Polo Cup clutch that we had. It was also quite bitey when I first got in the Polo Cup. So for me it's quite similar to that. It's not too hard. I wouldn't say it's like Formula One bite point, just made for racing.
Right, your first race is in May. What are you expecting, and what is BMW expecting from you?
I think the pressure's on. I think BMW expect a lot from us, especially now in the factory position. My personal aim is just to obviously now I've reached my aim of being in DTM, so the aim naturally shifts now to winning races and ultimately the championship, which sounds very...
Hold on, how old are you again?
19 years old.
Gary, there's a 19-year-old kid talking about... Hold on, oh, my focus has shifted from just getting into the champion to winning it.
Your goals, you know?
How? I mean, there's a big set of balls there. It's very cool.
He's kinky, watch out.
Unbelievable.
Just a quick one before we carry on. Just a quick one, okay? Josh now asks, why did you do less laps than other guys? Aberdeen, for example, did over 200, if he recalls correctly.
That is a very good question, Joshua. The reason for that was, like I said, after the first day, they basically let me know that they were very happy with my performance. And they took me out of the car for the third day because they wanted to compare the other three in a way, which is quite strange because everyone was always asking me, why are you not driving on the third day, you know? And I was just sort of saying, yeah, it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. But in the end, I think they just wanted to find, let's say, reserve driver for DTM, for BMW. So it would be between three of those four.
So it basically took them a very short time to make up their mind that, oh yeah, this kid is quick enough. Right, thank you very much. We've got him. Move on.
Yeah, well, that was quite cool because I was expecting, like you guys said, to wait maybe a month, and you know, waiting a month to hear if you have the seat is quite nerve-wracking, you know. So
do I sign for the other team or come back to this one?
Exactly, I wouldn't sleep at night if I had to wait a month. So it was very cool that they let me know straight away, and I think the main reason was that they wanted to keep me from BMW and not let me go back to Audi again.
Okay.
So I think they were trying to keep me reserved, you know,
Just
in
a
a way.
quick one. Michael John Elliott asks you another question. Awesome stuff, Sheldon. Any chance to be involved in BMW's GT3 program? Now,
I'm smiling.
That comes
I'm
from
smiling.
a fan. Okay. I'm sure when he's ready, guys. When it's ready. Wave Yellow will be the
Gary,
first.
let's
to know.
ask this question another way, because you know how it goes.
Yes.
We ask a question that goes over here, and the answer comes from there, and we put 7 and 8 together, and then boom.
Is it? So we get an
Okay.
extra 2 caps for this one.
So we spoke to your brother. Yeah, part of the whole Van Linde VDL Bros brand, the vibe you've got as a family, which I think is freaking awesome. So now we must have another one. Gary, I think that what we need to do is start a VDL Familia. So we get the family. We can start that brand, and one day we're going to get the whole family in front of the show.
You know, if you do that, you know that Bernadine.
She'll
is
murmur
gonna-
me.
she's going to control you like you've never been controlled enough before. Ask him. He'll tell you how she controls the kids.
I know nothing. I know nothing. So let's ask this question in another way. Kailami, 9 hour. I believe you're going to be selling VDL merchandise and stuff.
He's becoming a vendor. He's walking around the tray saying,
He's not a vendor. You're not a Zulu. You're not a Tswana. So you're going to be selling some stuff there?
Well, that's actually Mom's job at the Kailami now. She's going to be doing all the selling for us.
That's Bernadine.
Yes.
That's Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
I must be scared of her. She's a vendor.
She's a vendor.
Isn't she blonde?
Bernadine, when next time you see him, you sort him out.
Bernadine, I lived with danger for many, many years. Then she told me to go, so I can handle danger. So,
Check out your mom. Fat smiley faces laughing like hell.
so Kailami, you're going to be there.
I will be there, hopefully in a race car, and if it will be in a BMW. So I think it's going to be a cool aspect of it if I do get to do that race, because we've got the likes of Jordan Pepper, Calvin van Linde, David Perrell, exactly, and hopefully some of the local guys as well. You know, we've got Mike Steven, Jan Fourie, all those guys, Gennaro. It would be very cool.
Gennaro who?
Gennaro Bonafide. Never heard of him before?
No, I thought you meant Giancarlo.
Oh,
No, that's Gianni. No. There's
Is
some.
he driving a GT3 car?
No.
Who's this, Gennaro?
Yeah,
Gennaro
at the 9 hour.
No.
Oh.
Do they make cars with that much legroom in it for Mr. Bonafide?
Well, I would say that I'm not far off him with a length by now, so he should fit in quite alright. But I think we're going to have to put a few pedal extensions in.
But
for
you must weigh what, about 52 kilos?
him. Strangely enough, 68. So
It's better than
I
69.
want to know something. Now, this is what I want to know. I mean, indirectly, he's mates with Gennaro. You know what Gennaro's job is and all that sort of stuff. That you are now the big South African BMW race driver.
yes.
And Gennaro, hold on, for those of the people who don't know,
yeah.
Gennaro is head of driving experience.
I was actually visiting them the other day in his office, and it's quite cool to see how he's getting along now. You know, he's head of the driving experience and the motorsport. So I think in the months to come we're going to be working together quite a lot, especially with BMW South Africa. So I think we're going to be able to get some cool stuff up as well. And
because you're going to be a huge marketing asset for BMW South Africa, where they need a real quick superstar. Boom, here you go.
well, it's cool, you know, because before me and Calvin were obviously always the ambassadors for Audi in South Africa. So BMW never really had an international, although they had Gennaro locally, they never really had an international racing driver.
And Gennaro is an awesome ambassador. I believe he's like DJ Gennaro in the house.
Yeah, he's like hip, man.
Gennaro is an all-round man. He can pretty much do anything he puts his mind to. So I'm also learning a lot from him as well. And it's, like I said, it's great to be working with him this year. We're very close mates as well, but obviously we get our business done as well. So it's very cool to have two sort of aspects of it.
This is an unusual question.
Yes.
I don't know if you know Mark Friedman.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
But now listen, you can't really answer this one truthfully because he works for Audi.
I
Now,
can
Mark
read it from here.
yeah,
Can you date
yeah,
my daughter?
Yeah. Gary, please ask him. Say, I asked him, but you work for Audi, brother. I don't know if
That's the thing, you know. We're
yeah.
kind of clashing with brands now. So.
Yeah.
But that's got to be an
see
interesting,
about that one.
the family car park. Like there's a whole lot of BMs and one Audi.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram story last night, but I was kind of saying that my parents have been ready for the brand switch like maybe a few years ago already. So that's quite cool. I like it that my parents are driving BMW over Audi.
Woo! And this is how it starts. Guys, we can carry on all night. I've really enjoyed the chat and the insights that you give us. So
It's been
fantastic.
awesome, and I just want to reiterate what my brother's been saying about the show. It's amazing how you guys are pushing the show forward, getting local people recognized, and really just putting the word out there, you know. And it's like we spoke about earlier. It's more just the passion for racing, and that's what it's all about. I'm very proud of you guys.
Jeez, thanks. That's unexpected, and thank you very much. Gary's going to get something in his eye again just now.
Just
got
before.
dust in your eyes,
Yeah, dust in my eyes. I get dust, he gets champagne. Okay, just Benny Bella's joined us. Terence Marsh, welcome. George Rocher's online. Simon Murray says, how's the boy? Keep the flag flying.
How's it, Simon?
I'm sure you know him pretty
Nice to
well.
have you online.
And your mum's all the smiley faces. Who else is on? George Rocher. Brent Robbins says, that'll be great having Sheldon and Gennaro Bonafide working together. What, in a disco?
What car did they give you to drive?
This guy's got DTM rhythm.
We're still negotiating that with BMW, but hopefully when I'm back, I'll have a car here as well.
What would you like if you could choose the whole range, from a 1.6 to whatever they make, the big long black one? Which of their cars would you like?
Well, to tell you something, I've ordered a M2 competition now for Europe, which is it's been my dream car for quite a long time.
What color?
It's called Hockenheim Silver. Funny enough, Hockenheim Silver it's called. So hopefully it's a good sign for the first race in Hockenheim at least, you know. So
What color will your car be? Your race car?
race car. It's still not decided yet which sponsor I'm going to be driving with, but hopefully in the next few weeks they'll let us know. Obviously, Augusto used to drive with a Shell livery on the car, but I'm not sure if they're going to be carrying that across to me as well, or if it's more a personal relationship with Augusto.
If it is Shell, it could be very interesting to see what Shell South Africa does, because they're also involved in a big
link between
big
BMW and Shell.
big supply arrangement in South Africa. It's super. Sheldon VD Linde, South Africa's first factory DTM driver, about to be the youngest DTM driver in the history of the world. Thank you so much for your time, your insight, your honesty, your passion, your love, thank you for being you, and may your dreams come true and kick ass, but
Thank you very much, Colin. It's been a pleasure being on the show. Thank you very much, Gary. It's been awesome. And hopefully we get to catch up in the next few months coming as
it
well.
would be magnificent. Guys, what more can I say? Superstar. Not in the making, superstar right now. Gary, that's all I got. What you got?
Guys out there, thank you very much for watching. Great bringing you all the stuff we managed to bring today. And We will definitely be live next week, Wednesday. Although tomorrow could be a surprise. I know there's another top driver hanging around, and if I get the call tonight,
Gary, we're going to spend the whole week talking motorsport.
well,
Love
I'm
it.
hoping to. Yeah, Jordan Pepper arrived in late this afternoon. He's flying up tomorrow. One shot, because we don't see Jordan Pepper for something like 2 months or something. So he's coming in from Germany off to Bathurst.
Gary,
We've
there's
got
a
to catch him.
song
If he
about
contacts
that.
me tomorrow,
You've got one shot.
Yeah.
Real quick. I don't know if you guys know his nickname that we've given him in Germany now, but you guys should be calling him Jürgen Pfeffer and not Jordan Pepper. This is like the German edition of
Jürgen Pfeffer.
Jürgen Pfeffer.
Jürgen Pfeffer. So Jürgen Pfeffer, if you're watching, come on the show tomorrow, and yeah, it'll be cool to have you on the show.
I love nicknames. It's like back in the day they used Adrian.
Oh yes. Okay.
When you
Adrian, we need some information on Christopher.
yes, Adrian's son is Christopher. Aberdeen.
That's the only way I don't confuse him.
Jürgen Pfeffer. Right, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Waved Yellow.
Thank you. Adios.